My name is Marina Pommier. I'm French. I'm actually working in Europe since 20 years in the field of world music. I am now actually more than 20 years, but I started 20 years ago to work for Sziget Festival. I started to do the first Gypsy stage on the Sziget Festival in Budapest 20 years ago, and now I'm running since actually it's the second after the pandemic, a new stage called Global Village Stage, which is about world music, of course. I'm also the programmer for foreigner and world music musicians for another festival in Hungary, in Nyiregyháza, called Vidor Festival. And now I live in France. I came back to France. I lived a long time in Belgium and in Hungary, and now I live in France, and I also organize in the countryside in southwest of France some concerts in small places, in rural places like churches, farms, and castles. Actually, in the frame of my work, of course, of world music, there are always gypsy musicians, but I'm not specialized anymore with gypsy music. I worked 11 years with the group Romano Drom. We created the group together, and then I worked also for 7 years. I was the manager of the group Söndörgö, who is playing more South Slavic music from Hungary. They're from Szentendre in Hungary, and now I'm mostly booking some groups, especially on special requests for other festivals also, and curating some acts. And now this year, for example, it's very interesting because we just saw a group with Jewish harp, and I was doing a project between a French group from where I live in southwest of France and a Hungarian group called Zorg. And the project is called Zorg and Zord because the two groups has nearly the same name. It's also trio. So I'm also trying to build up some new things, and I'm also collaborating with Jarmila on this Sounds of Europe program from Europe, Creative Europe. So first of all, I started to work more in theater, but then I did some studies in Belgium and France for cultural management, and when I was a student, I did work for 3 months in a festival in Arles, which was actually a gypsy festival run by the president of the festival was Chico from Chico and the Gypsies. He was formerly the fundator actually of the Gypsy Kings, because the Gypsy Kings are from this area. So it was something quite new for me, and I really loved the atmosphere. I met there people like Titi Robin, and it was in 1994. That was my first job in world music. And I was still a student, so I carried on my studies afterwards, and this was my first contact with world music and gypsy music, and I met there also Drom, and I was at the origin of collaboration between Chico and the Gypsies and Drom on a CD, and then worked also for a music label when I was a student also. And when I moved to Belgium, I was a tour manager of the Gipsies of Rajasthan, Musafir. So yes, I had a lot of contacts with all those music, but I think you have to evolve, and then there are new lives and new things coming up. And now I think mostly my work, apart from what I'm doing in Hungary, curating those two big festivals, is bringing also world music in small villages, and also to share this with people who don't have access to culture, and where there are no clubs, where there are no infrastructures, and try to find good places and great musicians that I bring there in the countryside. So this is my big project at the moment, and also trying to make collaborations with between musicians and also with other festivals. And yeah. So I don't have one dream. It's always a question of occasion. Life is always. It was a surprise for me to go in this field of music and then start to work with gypsies, and you build your career when you meet people, and each time it's a new discovery. So let's see what life will bring to me. So now I don't have any special dreams. I just appreciate what I get from others and try to. My job is actually sharing this and sharing this with the public. I think my job is like more a transmitter, and I want to emphasize this. When I have time, apart from world music, I'm much more into also punk rock and this kind of music. If I don't go to world music concerts, and for example, it's a pity I couldn't see some groups like Fountain DCs at Sziget or things like that. I would have loved, but I don't have time. And otherwise, I also love like very much French chanson and very old style singing. And I'm also myself just for as an amateur. I'm also singing polyphonic, and I enjoy it very much. So it's quite various. But I'm not. The only thing is that I'm not a jazz fan. But otherwise, I'm open to quite a lot of music, and I'm not a jazz fan, I'm not a rap fan, but it depends how it's made, and it depends what is mixed, and it's like, for example, now the music that we listen to could be very much techno or trance music, and I like the mix of the original traditional music going in this way, because I think this is really the roots of the people and those things that you can feel. So those kind of things I like very much.